Welcome back to the WOIS episode of Studio60. We've seen the ideation process, we've seen the execution process, and also the various happenings that took place during the 4-day festival. Now let's look a little more into the most important part, that's the award ceremony, because definitely no film festival is complete without recognition and without awards. We have with us Dr. Sabir Haque, who has played an important role in the festival and is also the festival coordinator and shall throw a little more light into the Golden Oryx Awards. Hi, sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Same here, same here.
Can you tell us a little more about the award categories that were there for the Golden Oryx Awards?
So for this first edition of WOIS Film Festival, we had 3 categories. And we obviously wanted, first of all, to encourage young filmmakers. So we have a category for schools. We tried our level best to reach out to as many schools as possible within UAE. So this is open to only schools within UAE. So this is school category. Similarly, we also wanted the university students to also participate. So the second category is for university. At the same time, we wanted the professionals who are working in the UAE. Now they could be people from different walks of life. They might not be making film for a living, but they're actually making film for passion. Right. And since the festival is all about the voice of passion, so we wanted to give them a chance, the expat filmmakers, the Arab filmmakers who are in this part of the region, to submit the films. So that are the 3 categories. And we also had an international category, which is obviously the non-competitive part. Okay. So within competitions are only these 3 categories. But since we wanted to have a mix of films from across the world, and it's also a good learning process for the filmmakers here, be it in school, be it in university, be it a professional, is to look at the standards of films globally. So that's why we have these 3 categories, which is a part of the competition, and which is not part of the competition is also the international films, so that we received.
So wait a minute, what did the winners win? What were the prizes? Let's look at a video to get to know more about that. Wow, the winners are really lucky. Why a filmmaking kit?
I mean, at this time, I think it's very important to say that we're very lucky.
Yes.
And I also feel that the filmmakers are very lucky to get a filmmaker's kit, all thanks to Grand Stores. So we're very lucky because when we were beginning, to plan regarding this film festival, we wanted to have partners who come from the broadcast industry, filmmaking industry. And the first few people we spoke to were actually Grand Stores, and they loved the idea so much that they were on board from the first day. So the first meeting we had with them, they were on board. Wow. And they were kind enough to give us a filmmaker's kit, which, as you saw in the video, which includes everything that a filmmaker, and I won't say this is everything that a filmmaker would need, but then as a filmmaker to begin in the whole journey of filmmaking, this is great. Right. You know? So that's how this filmmaker's kit was given, and I think it's a great prize for first-time filmmakers, definitely.
Oh yes, it is a great prize indeed. Can you tell us about the jury? And they played an important role, obviously. So can you highlight?
I mean, jury obviously are very important because that gives us an idea as to how rigorous the film selection process was. I mean, to begin with, we never thought it'd be such a task. When we started planning about the film festival, we had a certain number in mind, but we got more than 3,000 films.
Wow!
And for a first-time film festival, and we're doing it for the first time, it was a huge task for us. So we had an internal committee, which obviously spent lots of sleepless nights to make sure that the best of films makes the cut. So ultimately, from over 3,000 films, we selected 70 films, which were screened during the film festival. Towards the last phase, as I mentioned, that there is a competitive category. So our jury members, So we had Baz Muhammad, who is a very renowned filmmaker of the region. We had Faisal Hashmi, a very good friend, and he's been helping us with lots of support in training, like in general. So we are very happy to have them on board. And we also had our chairperson of School of Media and Communication, MAHE Dubai, Dr. Percy Fernandez. He is very passionate about film. So all three of them got together, and they actually selected the winners of the local category, which includes, as I mentioned before, school, universities, and the professionals. So out of 70 films, there's also local films, and there's also, as I mentioned earlier, international films.
Right.
So jury members were the one who actually made the selection for the final winners.
Okay. Now, what according to you was the quality that came out of these films?
We were very impressed, and frankly, it feels so good when you see a great film that is coming to the festival.
Right.
And we got lucky with some films, amazing films, and I'm sure people who watched the films, and we got such a good feedback of people who, and I must tell you, these are people who are already film literate. They are people who have seen film festivals earlier that happened in this region. They came for the film festival and mentioned how good the selection was. And we obviously, like the international films were really good. And we had a very hard time actually selecting, and we had a very hard time also to inform the filmmakers. It feels so bad to tell them, like, no, okay, we could not screen your films. And also we had the process of film approval from the censor. So National Media Council, we thank National Media Council for, again, taking the task of looking through all the films we sent them. And thankfully, they did not make any cuts. All the films made to the film festival. So obviously, like, so the quality was really good. Local films, as I mentioned, that there is a need for a platform like this, because I think there is a lot of improvement that also needs to come in. I won't say much about regarding the professionals, because they had professional people doing the work, So it obviously the quality will be better if you compare with a school or a university. But I think the people who came at the films who got selected from school universities, I think if they had seen all the films during the film festival, I think it's a great learning experience for them. So yes, there's a lot of scope for improvement, and I'm sure in the next few editions we're going to get great local films as well.
Wow, that's really nice. I'd also like to ask you, in the first edition of WOIS Film Fest, you've focused on best films in 3 categories. That's the school, the university, and in general, right? Now, in the future, what are the plans? Are you going to focus on more categories, or are you just restricting yourself to just this one category?
No, I mean, I think as a first edition, we didn't want to, we wanted to focus on the person behind the film. So we obviously wanted to target the filmmaker, but going forward, because it's a team effort at the end of the day. So we want to obviously acknowledge the person behind the camera, the cinematographer, the production designer, the script writer, the actors who play such an important role. So obviously, going ahead, maybe in the next edition, we will add some more categories wherein we honor the work of the crew members and obviously the cast and the crew.
Yes.
So that is definitely on the cards. But yeah, I mean, that's something that we'll definitely look into in the next few editions.
Yes. Now, I'm sure you all must be wondering who were the winners. So let's watch a video and get to know who were the winners.
We will begin the Golden Oryx Award for the Best Short Film UAE. The nominees are Masquerade by Rasami, Solilakhi, directed by Nisar Ibrahim, Up to You, directed by Kiran Kirpa, and Two, directed by Tarish Kulani.
Best Short Film UAE. Tarish. The award for the Best Short Film UAE goes to 2018 for Tarish Kolan.
The winner also takes home a complete filmmaking kit worth more than 16,000 dirhams, sponsored by
I feel relieved because I was quite nervous, actually. I didn't expect to be, but for some reason I was. So I'm very proud of what we've done, and very happy, and I can't wait to celebrate with my crew, and of course submit it further ahead to more festivals. Come back next year for the film festival because I had a great experience.
We move on to the Golden Oryx Award for the Best Short Film, UAE University. The nominees are Ever, directed by Ihab Samadi, University Dubai. Khadija, directed by Syed Qasim from SAE Institute Dubai. Moment, directed by Hadia Al-Gabish from American University in Dubai. And The Cost of Revenge, directed by Alan Salesh, Middlesex University in Dubai.
So the best short film university goes to Moment by Hadia Al-Gabish, American University Dubai.
Moving on to the Golden Oryx Award for the Best Short Film, UAE School. The nominees are Ace, directed by Hiba Sharaf from University in Dubai. Malevolent Mind, directed by Shibam Ajmera, Delhi Private School, Dubai. The Race, directed by Adnair and Adrian, the Winchester School, Jebel Ali. And Social Inclusion of Refugees, directed by Jacob, Nicholas, Alcacia and Stacey Lorenzo from the Winchester School, Jebel Ali.
The best short film UAE school goes to Ace.
Really glad that we won. We were really surprised to see that we were the only female crew to be a part of this, and we are really glad that we won.
On behalf of the team from Studio60, I'd like to congratulate all the winners and definitely the participants of the first edition of WOIS Film Fest. And also, I'd like to thank you very much
Thank you
for
so
joining
much.
us today
Thank you.
and throwing a little more light on the Golden Oryx Awards and the success.
Thank you.
Do visit the website www.voicefilmfest.com to get to know all the details that you need to know about the next edition of WOIS Film Fest. So don't forget to submit your film so that they can be screened next year. Stay tuned. That's it from my side. This is Shruti Chakravarti signing off.